Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
DC John Jones, we talked about them last week. Obviously, DC was trying to say that he deserves to be in the regarded as the greatest of all time if he beats Stipe Miocic. Now, that is the big thing. If he beats Stipe Miocic. I'm going to start it like this by just saying, Lewis, do you believe he will beat Stipe Miocic?
I think I picked Stipe because, look, I saw Cormier get knocked out by John Jones. We know he can get knocked out. This is what Stipe does. It's just really hard. I'm so down the middle on it. In my heart and kind of what I want to happen is Cormier to win. And I think he can. I think he has the skill set, but it's really tough to pick.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Especially when you like both guys so much. I mean, DC's a great guy. Obviously, I work with him a lot over at Fox. And he's a really, really good dude. And he's actually looking out for Callum. Obviously, Callum's going to be going to college soon, and DC's putting us in contact with wrestling coaches and colleges and all that type of stuff. So he's been fantastic, and I think a lot of him. On the flip side, you got Stipe Miocic again, who you can't talk shit about. Stipe Miocic. He's the heavyweight champion in the world. He's the most dominant heavyweight champion in the world. He's still a goddamn fireman. He's a nice guy. He's a humble dude. He's not out talking shit. Still works as a fireman. I mean, realistically, that says everything you need to know about this guy. So, both guys, I'm a big fan of both. So making a pick is a difficult one. But when you look at Daniel Cormier, he was very good at heavyweight. He was 13-0. He won the Strikeforce tournament. And he would typically do it by walking forward, throwing combinations, closing the distance, and taking people down. Can he do that against Stipe Miocic? I don't think so, because Stipe is very, very athletic. When you look at a lot of the heavyweight roster, or the heavyweight roster back in the day, they were big guys that were plodding. They were kind of out of shape. They were good, but they weren't like, true athletic specimens. Stipe Miocic is a modern heavyweight. Stipe is a guy that could have played any sport. I believe he played baseball at a very high level. He's very athletic. He can knock people out going forwards, going backwards. He's fast. He can wrestle as well, not to mention being much, much bigger than Daniel Cormier. Now, the one thing that Stipe has, of course, is I think it's an 8-inch reach advantage, which is massive. That's huge. But DC has handled people like that before. John Jones, Alexander Gustafsson, and he didn't beat John Jones, pardon me. He beat Alexander Gustafsson. The first time he had a pretty close fight with John Jones.
Also,
obviously lost the second one by a head kick.
He started his career as a heavyweight, won the Strikeforce Grand Prix. He has wins over Frank Mir, Bigfoot Silva. Remember, he beat him to win the tournament. Josh Barnett, like huge heavyweights. So it's not like he can't handle guys that are bigger than him.
No, absolutely. No, he can. He can. I'm not saying that. But it's a different type of heaviness, if you will. Stipe is big, and he's long, and he's athletic, and he's fast, and he can move, and he's got footwork. He can wrestle, of course, as well. I mean, look what he did to Mark Hunt. He took Mark Hunt down and just held on top of him and just pounded him for 4 or 5 rounds until the ref stopped it. Might have even been a decision. I'm not sure. But he can dance around the place as well. Like most heavyweights just stand there. Gonzaga, Josh Barnett. I mean, no disrespect to these guys, but they stand right in front of you. Stipe can utilize a lot of footwork if he needs be. Remember when he fought Fabrizio Verdum, he was going backwards. Verdum was charging him with his chin up in the air, trying to throw punches, and Stipe was using great footwork, moving back, boom, landed a nice overhand right and put him to sleep. Not a lot of heavyweights can do that. He can do that, so he can fight going backwards. Of course, if he does get him down, Stipe will probably have a very good chance of getting back to his feet, being the bigger man. So I just think that both guys are very, very good and very closely matched. But I just think, well, when you have two guys that are very good and equally matched, you go with the bigger guy. The bigger guy can hit harder. We've seen that Stipe is a one-punch knockout guy. That's how he won the belt, and that's how he's defended it. He's going to get big, heavy hitters like Francis Ngannou, and you know, and walk through that fire. So you've got to lean towards Stipe. But if DC can do it, he will rightly become probably one of the best fighters of all time, certainly in the discussions with Demetrius Johnson and people like that, and your George St. Pierre's. You know, he'll definitely be held in that kind of regard. Can he do it? I don't know. That's what makes this fight such an intriguing matchup, and I can't wait to see it.
What about strategy-wise? What about, is there anything there? Because I feel like Daniel Cormier, you know, I almost feel like him and his team have more of like a challenge in putting together a strategy to take Stipe down, take him out of his element.
No. It's easy. The strategy for DC is the same as every other fight. He walks forward, throwing long combinations, which is rare for a lot of fighters. A lot of fighters throw single shots, but DC ultimately is looking to clinch. So he walks throwing single shots, utilizes a lot of head movement, and then he closes the distance. Then he gets his hands on you, and he takes you down. Once he gets you down, he lies on top of you. He looks for you to turtle, to get back to your feet, get onto all fours, onto your knees and your elbows. When you do that, he'll grab your neck and try and choke you out unconscious. That's his game plan every time. And if he can't get you down, just closing the distance and swinging the shots is what he does. Trying to land bombs, trying to rock you, trying to take you down. Rinse and repeat until either he gets the finish or the time stops and you've been more effective and you win the fight by decision. So that's his game plan. Stipe's is a little different. He's got to be careful that when he throws those long arms, that DC doesn't slip off to the left or the right, you know, counter them and then get his arms around the body lock. But Stipe, you know, 80-inch reach, use that jab, use the 1-2, boom, stick and move a little bit, wear him out, you know, maybe look for the knockout. I mean, the last fight showed that DC can get knocked out, which is surprising. I mean, anyone can get knocked out, let's be honest. But when you look at DC, the way that he's built, you know, he's not short, but for a heavyweight, he's a shorter guy. He's very, very compact, a barrel-esque build, almost no neck whatsoever, and he's got a big head like a bowling ball. But Jones proved that he can be knocked out, and obviously Stipe's got a habit of knocking out heavyweights after heavyweight after heavyweight. So, you know, that is definitely a scenario that we might see. Not saying it will, not saying I'm hoping for that. I'm just saying that is a scenario which is definitely a possibility.
Let's say DC overcomes the huge task and is able to beat DC, or is able to beat Stipe, which I think we both agree, if he's going to beat Stipe, it's going to be by decision. I don't think there's any way he stops him. I mean, I guess there is, but I think Stipe, he's fought a couple 5-round fights, right?
Yeah, Stipe's fought some 5-round fights. His last one against Ngannou, obviously that was 5 rounds, and I think there's been some others. But athletically, he can do that. Cardio is never an issue for him.
Yeah.
I think the only thing is Stipe isn't, you know, a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, and neither is Daniel Cormier. But as I said, Cormier does look to expose people when they show their back, when they're trying to get back to the feet. So you could see a choke finish for Cormier.
Yeah.
You could see a knockout for Stipe. I'd probably say, you know, if you had a gun to my head, that Stipe Miocic wins via decision.
Okay.
But who knows, man? DC's amazing. He really is.
DC's a monster.
So Stipe.
There's no losing here. You know, DC steps up, fights the heavyweight champion. This is the biggest super fight, in my opinion, really ever.